Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to see people here and also online. Good to see you and have you here on this Shabbat. It's a little warmer. Notice, yes, although it's getting towards the end of the season, I know that it's getting late in the summer because I'm not in the direct sunshine when the service starts. That's how I know. But I want to wish everyone Shabbat Shalom, all of those who come regularly, all those who are new for the first time, all those celebrating with Josh and Judith Kay, which we'll talk about later in our service. And tonight we sing and we celebrate and we're joyful even amidst all the difficulties in the world that are happening. We take time outside of time to enjoy Shabbat. For our candle lighting, I had thought that Carolyn Elsie was going to be here, but I do not see her, so I'm going to invite Adria Farber, surprise, to come up and to light the Shabbat candles. You can find the prayer on page 2 and words on page 3. Adria's going to read one of the readings on page 3 and then light our candles. And she's going to use my microphone. Yes. There you go. Okay.
And I want you to sing with me, please.
I will.
Okay, all right.
Come right near the mic. Real close.
All right. Good.
Closer.
Closer?
That's good.
Okay. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Okay. Oh, is it?
That's the first time that worked. Both at the same time. We joined together. Sing with us. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu להדליק נר של שבת.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Amen. Shabbat Shalom. Can I give you a hug?
Yes, you can. Thank you. Thank you.
So good to see you.
Welcome. You want this back?
Yes. As we continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, songs to celebrate Shabbat, I also wanted to let you know, as you probably noticed, my colleague and friend Rabbi Gorbin is not here tonight. She now has COVID. Yuval, her son, had it, and now she has it. So she is taking the weekend off, and we wish her a very healthy, relaxing Shabbos. So we're going to join first with Mayafeh Hayom on page 10. Page 10, Mayafeh Hayom. These words, how lovely today is, and truly, Shabbat Shalom. Mayafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Mayafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Join with me. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Mayafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Mayafeh Hayom, Shabbat Shalom. Let me hear you sing now. There it is. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat. continue to welcome Shabbat with Lecha Dodi on page 20 and 21. Page 20 and 21, we're going to do verses 1, 2, 5, and 9 with this Sephardic style melody. And on the 9th verse, we'll ask you to rise and to see one another and see the Shabbos bride within our kahal, our community. So join with me and clap and sing. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, ishmi'anu el ha'meyuchad. Adonai echad u'shemo echad, l'shemo tiferet Tehila, hey, Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Do that again. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechoven elcha, ki mekor ha'beracha, merosh mikedem nesucha. Sof ma'aseh b'machshava tehila, lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Hitoreri, ki va'orech, ki miori, Ori shira veri, kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, gam besimcha uvetzola, toch emune am segula. Boi chala, Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Lecha Dodi likrat gala, b'nei Shabbat nekabelam. Please be seated. We conclude this first part of our service with Hatzi Kaddish on page 26. Yitkadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabbah, v'yamad yivrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon u'v'chayedecho Beit Yisrael. Bagala, uvizman kariv veimro. Yehi Shmei Rabbah mevarach, le'ala mulal me'omaya, yitbarach. Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitramah v'yitnaseh, v'yithadar v'yithaleh v'yithalal, Shemei dekodeshah. Brich bu le'ela min koberchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran me'ama ve'imro. We rise for the formal call to worship, and we face east, which is towards the gate. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la.
ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ay la la la, ya la 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 la. Baruch hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed. Hamevorach, hamevorach leolam vaed. We turn and face each other as we continue with this prayer, Ma'ariv Aravim, this prayer that thanks God for the evening, for the changing of seasons and times. And I invite you to take one moment first, before we say it, to enjoy this change of moments from the ordinary to the extraordinary and the holy of Shabbat, and to notice all those things around us that we oftentimes forget to see. So take one moment before we read this prayer. See, everybody enjoys it. Join with me. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, bechokma poteach she'arim, uvitevuna mishane itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umesader et hakochavim b'mishmerotehem barakia kirtzono, borei yom valayla, golel or mipnei choshech, vehoshech mipnei or, uma'avir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uvein laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo, el chai v'kayam, tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed, baruch atah Adonai hama'ariv aravim. Continue with Ahavat Olam leading into Shema on the next page. Ahavat Olam Beit Yisrael Amcha Avta Amcha Avta Torah u'mitzvot, chokim u'mishpatim, otanu lemadeta. Al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu, uv'kumeinu nasiach b'chukecha. ונזמח בדברי תורתך ובמצוותיך לעולם ועד, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגה יומם ולילה, נגה יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Please be seated as we continue Shema and her blessings with V'ahavta on page 36. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha v'chol levavcha u'v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadivarim ha'elem Asher Anochi Mitzavecha Hayom Al Levavecha Vishinantam Levanecha Vidibarta Bam Vishivtecha Bevetecha Uvelechtecha Vaderech Uvishochbecha Uvkumecha Ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha Uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvisharecha Leman tizkero v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'tem kedoshim lelohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem Asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lachem le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Adonai Elohechem emet. On page 41 and then on page 40. Join me. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Kamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha neder b'kodesh Nora tehilot osef elem Nora tehilot osef elem Malechotecha ra'u banecha Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam Zeli anu ve'amru Zeli anu ve'amru Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed Yai lai lai ya lai la 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 lai Yai lai ya la lai la 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 lai lai Ya lai la lai lai ya la lai la 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 lai Ai la lai lai ya la lai 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 V'nemar kif Adonai et Yaakov וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. Continue with Hashkivenu on page 43, the third line down. Page 43, the third line down. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your good counsel for your name's sake. Be our help. Uvros aleinu sukat Shalomecha. Page 42, third line. Uvros aleinu sukat Shalomecha. Ya lai la lai, ya lai la lai, ya lai la lai, ya lai lai lai, ya lai la lai, ya dai dai dai, ay dai 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 dai. Ufros aleinu sukat Shalomecha. Baruch atah Adonai, Haporei sukat shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim. We continue with Vishamru, the top of page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We now continue with Tefillah. We're going to begin with the Adonai Sifatai, which is a preparation for Tefillah, beginning on page 46, and we'll do Avot Imahot, the prayer for remembering our fathers and mothers, Givurot, the strength of God and the strength that we each possess, Kiddushah, the holiness of God, and then we'll pause for some silent prayer for the rest of Tefillah. As we rise, we face east. Adonai Sif שפתי תפתח הופיע תהילתך. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Velohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Velohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Velohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor Vanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, V'konei HaKol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei V'neihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava. Melech Ozer Moshia Umagen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham Vezrat Sarah. Ata Gibor Leolam Adonai, Mechaye Hakol Atarav Lehoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye Hakol Berachamim Rabim, Zomech Noflim Verofei Cholim, O Matir Asurim, O Mekayem Emunato, Lishene Afar, Mi Chamocha Bal Gevurot, O Midom Elach, Melech Memit, O Mechaye, O Matzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman ata l'chayot hakol. Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol. Ata kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kedoshim b'chol yom yahalelucha selah. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. And we continue now silently. I invite you to read the Hebrew or the English translations or one of the beautiful passages on the odd sides of each page, all the way through 62, after which you can be seated. bottom of page 130, these words from the morning Kiddushah saying, goes out to all the babies I see out there on the Shabbat. To all generations we will declare your greatness, and for all eternity proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O God, shall never depart from our lips. Blessed are you, Adonai, the holy God. Ledor vador nagid godlecha, ledor vador nagid godlecha, o lenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish, ledor vador nagid godlecha, ledor vador nagid godlecha, o lenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'lamayim, v'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'lamayim, ledor vador nagid godlecha, ledor vador nagid godlecha, o lenetzach netzachim kedushatcha nagdish, ki el melech gadol v'kadosh ata. Ledor vador nagid godlecha, Baruch ata Adonai ha'el So on this Shabbat, we have many moments of gratitude, and I'm going to pause to see if people have a moment, something special, something fabulous in your lives. And then we're going to say the Hatimah, which is the seal, literally, of a prayer. That is the Baruch Atah Adonai part on 58. So turn there and think about some of those moments this week. There are things every week. So raise your hand and speak loudly so everybody can hear you. Yes. Wow, a new job in Phoenix, Arizona for the daughter. Mazel tov. Mazel tov. Yes. A newly engaged granddaughter, and the wedding is next month. Okay. Oh, between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur. All right. Yes. I'm so glad. So somebody who has recovered from COVID and is starting a new job. Welcome. Yes. Happy anniversary. We have an anniversary and a baby. Not in that order. Who else? Yes, Josh and Judy Kay are celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary. They are here tonight. And anybody over there? Yes, Debbie. Yes, Debbie and I met our accompanist to start High Holiday stuff. So we are going strong. Yes, it was great. It was really wonderful. And we even had lunch. Yes. They mastered two-wheelers. The grandkids have mastered... What, the which? Oh, wild women, mastering those bicycles. Thank you. All right, for all of these miracles and these wonders that we are given, we say on page 58 at the bottom of the page, Baruch atah Adonai hatov shimcha ulcha na'el lehodot. Beautiful. And on this Shabbat, this celebration of gratitude, I'm going to invite Josh and Judith Kay to come up to receive a blessing and thank them for sponsoring the oneg as well this evening. It's going to be a yummy oneg, I know. Hey, good to see you both. Here, come up here. You stand there. You come up close. Come up close to her. You can come up close to her. There you go. There you go. Josh and Judy. Gold represents this 50th anniversary because it is precious, it's shining, and it's pure, just like the love that you have shown each other over all these years. Your love for each other is a catalyst and a shining example of commitment. There's great joy in finding your Beshirt, the one that you were meant to be with, someone who is caring, tolerant, and loving. Our sages commented that 50 years is considered forever in regards to a Levite. That statement is derived from a chronicle of the life of Samuel. His mother vowed that he would appear before the Lord and abide there forever. He was brought to Shiloh at age 2, and he died at age 52, hence 50 years. The number 50 is also connected to a wedding. The Hebrew words for groom and bride, Hatan and Kala, both feature the number 50. The word Hatan ends with the letter Nun, whose numerical equivalence is 50. And similarly, the equivalent of the first two letters of the word Kala, Kaf and Lamed, when combined equal 50. So combining 50 and 50, you get 100. This is gematria. What does this number signify through Jewish gematria? In Deuteronomy 10:12, Moses tells the Jewish people what, the Hebrew word ma, does God ask of you? The Talmud explains that the word ma can be read as mea, meaning 100. In other words, God obligates us to count 100 brachot each day, or more. May you continue to count your 100 blessings and more in times of joy and times of sorrow, in times of laughter and in times of frustration, in moments together and in moments apart. And we say together, Amen. And now I'm going to offer you the words of the priestly benediction, and I'll ask you to just bow your heads a little bit. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yechoneka. May God's light shine upon you, and may God be gracious to you. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha Shalom. Shalom. May you feel God's presence upon you, and may you always, always know peace. Amen. And we celebrate and sing with the happy couple. Simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov, mazel tov, mazel tov, simin tov. Yehelanu. Let me hear it. Yehelanu, yehelanu, oleko Yisrael. Yehelanu, yehelanu, oleko Yisrael. Yelanu, O Lecho Yisrael. Yelanu, O Lecho Yisrael. Mazel Tov. We're going to take a moment here now for a Misha Beirach prayer, a prayer asking for a complete recovery of body, of mind, of soul on page 253 in our prayer books. And we're going to go around in a moment to share names of those that you're thinking of in our community. I'm thinking of Bunny Peters, who is back home after being in the hospital. And I'm thinking of Lynn Spellman and Jim Friedman and those still afflicted and suffering from COVID this evening, as well as those who are struggling with fires, those with gun violence. There's so many things. If there are other names or things you'd like to share. Thank you. Jordan. Thank you. Someone said. Thank you. For all of their names and those we're thinking of, we sing together. Sheberach avotenu mikor abracha laimotenu. May the source of strength, oh, bless the ones before us. Help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor abracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. I'm going to take one little drink of water. Shabbat Shalom. It was with great sadness that I read of the death of Israeli composer Zvika Pick this past Sunday at 72. Pick is considered one of Israel's musical treasures. So how did two of his compositions, the Shema, which we sang tonight, and his Shehechianu, that's the Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu, sound familiar? We do it all the time. How did that become ensconced in our prayer services? In Jewish summer camps in the 60s, early 70s, campers sang mostly in English, including the songs of beloved American folk singers of the time. Peter, Paul, and Mary, my favorite. Simon and Garfunkel, my favorite. Tom Paxton and Pete Seeger, my favorite. The ethics and morals that were learned were reflected in the lyrics of their songs. After the 1967 Six-Day War, Hebrew began to enter camp repertoire. By singing Israeli folk songs, music provided a portal to identifying with Israelis. We were making a connection with our homeland. We felt the heartbeat of Israelis through the music. This was also the time when NIFTY, the National Federation of Temple Youth, began Israel trips, like the Eisendrath Israel Exchange, known as EIE, and it began to flourish. Connections were built, and music was the bridge. As we entered the 70s, Hebrew songs became even more prominent, and song leaders introduced these new music melodies coming out of Israel. Tzvi Pick's Shema and Shehechianu were thus two of the bridges to Israeli music and Israeli pop culture. But who was Tzvika Pick? The musician was born Henryk Pick in Krakow, Poland. He immigrated to Israel when he was just a child, and he was born into a musical family with a grandfather who headed music school and an uncle who was a professor of music. He began studying classical music at the age of 5. He continued studies in Israel. He studied at Ramat Gan Music Center, and he performed in local rock bands as a teenager. Pick then came of age as a singer in the 1970s. His first big break was when he played the lead part in the Hebrew version of the musical Hair, and he became a known entity in the Israeli music scene. And it was quite controversial at the time because Israel at that time was a little more conservative-esque, and the play included full frontal nudity. It included bringing people up on the stage and the actors dancing in the aisles. It sounds great. And I was able to actually find the original recording of the song Hair in Hebrew. The word hair in Hebrew is sayar, that he sings. So the Hebrew is not word for word translation-wise, but it's close. And so I gave you a translation of 2 of these songs, and you can follow along. And if you get lost, you'll clearly hear the word spaghetti, which is one of the words. It's like a cognate in Hebrew. You'll definitely hear that, and that'll bring you back to where we are. So here is Tzvi Pick doing Hair, and I have it on my phone. And it's very appropriate for the way my hair is right now. I was thinking of doing this during the song, but maybe not. That is a fun piece. I have to learn that now in Hebrew. I can really appreciate, and I hope you can also online, how many words there are and how much more, you know, your jaws are flapping rather than the English, which is a lot easier actually. So, one more piece of his. So Svipik, he released 9 albums in the 70s. In 1970 through 1979, he released 9 albums. And he was one of the first glam rock performers of Israel. He wore makeup, he wore outlandish clothing, and he was compared to people like Elton John, Boy George, and David Bowie. Here is one of his many pop songs called Mala Mala, meaning up, up. And it shares the joy of music that he brings to all. In Israel, he was known as the Maestro. That was his nickname, the Maestro. So here is Mala Mala. Let's see. Very 70s. And if you want to see what he's wearing later, I'll show you. Very fun. He has a really great singer. I really, really love his voice. He reminds me a little bit of Queen. A little bit. All right. So when you're singing now or hearing Pix Shema or Shehechianu, remember the many gifts of this joyous composer who, again, the Israelis called the Maestro. And we say together, Amen. And we're going to have announcements now. I did see Carol and Elsie. So our president is going to, yes, no, yes? Are you going to share some announcements? Excellent. So we'll have some announcements. Lots going on. There you go.
Shabbat Shalom. We do have a lot going on tomorrow morning. Not getting close. Like in inside my mouth closed? Okay. We do have a lot going on. Tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. and at 10 a.m. we have Torah study and the Shabbat morning service. Both will be online. And then in the evening, Havdalah service. Adult Ed is now open for registration. Lots of awesome classes that are going to be available. And so check them out and hopefully you can join us. Also, religious school is open their registration. And so it's important, let's get people enrolled early, and then that way everybody can better plan for what needs to happen. Next Shabbat, the 26th, is a special one that the art that has been mounted in the sanctuary will be dedicated. It's a sculpture called Indenture, and there will be a special dedication of that, and we'll be able to learn a lot more about it. I'm really pleased that that art has come here and found a home here, and so that will be a wonderful evening. Most of the activities going on you can find in the Shabbat Shalom email, and if you're not getting that email, please let me know, and I will make sure that you get added so that you're up to date on everything that's coming up. So with that, I'll offer a Shabbat Shalom. Thanks.
Shabbat Shalom, thank you. We're going to move towards the conclusion of our service, beginning with Aleinu and Vinet and Mar on pages 282 and then 287. I'll ask you to rise and face east once more. Aleinu l'shabeach laton hakol, latet gedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoyei ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, v'goraleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malachei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad Shemo echad. Please be seated. We prepare for the mourner's Kaddish with a reading on page 289. The light of life is a finite flame. Like the Shabbat candles, life is kindled. It burns, it glows, it is radiant with warmth and beauty. But soon it fades. Its substance is consumed, and it is no more. In light we see, in light we are seen. The flames dance, and our life burns down and gutters. There is an end to the flames. We see no more and are no more seen, yet we do not despair, for we are more than a memory slowly fading into the darkness. With our lives we give life. Something of us can never die. We move in the eternal cycle of darkness and death, of light and of life. We first ask those who are experiencing Shiva or Shloshim on the Shabbat to rise, as well as those at home. To those that are being mourned, we say, Hamakom yinachem etchem b'toch sha'ar avilei Tzion v'Yerushalayim. May God console you with all who mourn in Zion and Jerusalem. Next, we ask those who are remembering someone and are have a yahrzeit on this Shabbat to please rise. In our community, we're thinking of Ramona Adorno, Audrey Brady, Ida Cohen, Irving Farber, Sylvia Feinberg, Ruth Catherine Fisher, Faina Freint, Fred Giron, Celia Greenberg, Louis Greenberg, Michael Hammerschmidt, Jim Harley, Byron Cabran, Pauline Kleiner, Joseph Kodish, Millicent Landau, Rosa Loeb-Hecht, Nahum Mizrahi, Miriam Neff, Robert Nelson Peckham Jr., Morris Rafalowitz, Jacques Rutlinger, William Sturman, Miriam Zielinski. For all those that we are remembering, we rise as one community to say the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294, page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, B'alma divra chirutei v'amlich malchutei, B'chayechon u'yomechon u'v'chaye decho Beit Yisrael, Ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru. Amen. Yehe shmei Rabbah mevarach le'alam u'lalmei almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudusha berechu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nechemata da'amiran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehe shlama Rabbah min shemaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. Oseh shalom b'mrumav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen. We say zichronam livracha, may they be remembered for their names and for all that they did on this earth. And we say, Amen. Please be seated. So first, a quick thank you for the many people it takes to do these services now as all access. I want to thank Randy Leifson, Erica Matson for service supporters tonight, candles and announcements, Carolyn Elsey, our tech, M. Adams and Melissa Stoddard. Wave, great, there they are. Security, Sean Berthel and Manny Espinoza. And I want to thank all of you for coming. This was the first service where we had to add extra chairs in the back. I was very, very excited to see that. So it's wonderful to see such a full congregation and to hear you on this Shabbat. We're going to conclude, followed by Kiddush and Motzi, with an Ein Kelohenu. This is a Ladino Ein Kelohenu. It's both in Hebrew and in Ladino, which is Old Spanish. It's the language of the Jews of Spain. Join with me. It's on page 327, 327. And thank you to Debbie Japp. See, I almost forgot. Join with us. Ein Keloheinu, ein Kadonenu, ein Kemokeinu, ein Kemoshienu, non como nuestro Dios, non como nuestro Señor, non como nuestro Rey, non como nuestro Salvador. Mi Eloheinu, mi Adonenu, mi Chemolkeinu, mi Chemoshienu, ¿quién como nuestro Dios? ¿Quién como nuestro Señor? ¿Quién como nuestro Rey? ¿Quién como nuestro Salvador? No del Eloheinu, nod el Adonenu, nod el Malkeinu, nod el Moshienu, lo haremos a nuestro Dios, lo haremos a nuestro Señor, lo haremos a nuestro Rey, lo haremos a nuestro Salvador. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Bendito nuestro Dios, bendito nuestro Señor, bendito nuestro Rey, bendito nuestro Salvador. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Tú sos nuestro Dios, tú sos nuestro Señor, tú sos nuestro Rey, tú sos nuestro Salvador. Shabbat Shalom. We're going to have Kiddush and Motzi. I'll ask you to rise. We'll be on page 5 for Kiddush and 302 for Motzi. And I'd like to invite the little ones up if they would like to come up. They don't have to. They can come up with parents. I think they still have to come up with parents. Oh, come on. Nice. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho v'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit ki hu yom tehila lemikra'e kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim kiranu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodshecha be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat lechaim. You were even singing along. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'te'avon. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Please, if you can, bring a chair in. It would be very, very helpful as we have to clean after. And enjoy this wonderful oneg from Judy and Josh. Shabbat Shalom.